Perfect. All right, well, we can go ahead and do introductions and then jump into some reporting. So, my name is Jordan, obviously here with Vine Skills. We also have Jen, who's going to be leading us for the reporting today. Erica, you are the lucky participant. It looks like you're the only person in here right now. So, we'll just kind of direct all questions and other things to you. If you have any questions for us, just let us know. Feel free to drop them in the chat. We can answer them there, but we're probably just going to do a quick little blurb on how to do some reporting. And then if you have any other specific questions, we can definitely answer those as well. So, Jen, if you want to take it away.
Yeah. And so obviously Jen here at Fine Skills. So anybody that's also watching this afterwards and watching it whenever we put it online, you can find some of my YouTube videos. I think I have some on like reporting and report exports and things like that. So yeah, we'll just kind of go over basic features. I will say I always give this general advice whenever I'm making any content regarding reporting. But basically, you have to play with the report builder to literally have any questions. And don't ever be afraid to play with report builder. I say this every time because you're not going to break anything. You can literally barely even delete anything. So just keep that in mind. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm just going to start building some general reports and we'll kind of go from there. And if any other attendees join, then if anyone has questions, they can chime in on the Q&A. So to access Report Builder, it's over here in this little, I guess I call it a vegan hamburger menu. So you click on that and then you just go to Report Builder. You also see saved reports. Saved reports are solely just reports that you've already created, and then you will see starred reports up at the top of your saved report. So it's it's a way to avoid all of the features of Report Builder, but it's the same exact reporting on that. Some takeaways here when we're in Report Builder initially is that on the left-hand side, you only have access to reports that you built or people shared directly with you in your org. So if you have never shared a report with somebody and you think that they have that same report, it is incorrect. They don't have that report. So always keep that in mind that when we get to that part, you have to share those reports. You can always see who created the initial report because as you can see here, it has Vine Skills team next to literally everything, but you will notice other staff members' names as well. So that is another thing to notice here on the basic side of Report Builder. You can filter through reports. As you can see, we have tons of options here to kind of go through. But if I wanted to look for like a keyword like static, then you can see that we have the, filter option to make it a little easier to kind of weed through. And then also just some general advice as far as naming them. I try to name things, as you can see, we kind of do that here as a team as well. I try to make things obvious. Like for example, this says collection in all caps because I use this report to build a collection export. If it says auto tag, it's because I used it to build an auto tag. So you want to keep your report builder as organized as you can. The option on the left-hand side is that starring feature I was mentioning. So whenever you are starring something, it just moves it to the top. So if I click on this billing items, Vine Skills, you can see now it's at the top. And then also another feature here is this little box that looks like a filing box. At least I think that's a filing box. I'm away from paper. I've never actually worked anywhere with paper products. So if you click here, let's say like Jen Rhodes is actually a report here. So if I click on this box and hit archive, it's out of sight, out of mind, but don't worry, it's not gone. You can actually scroll to the very bottom and you can expose all of your archived reports here. And then over here, we have the create new reports. So when we're creating the reports, this is kind of where people, I think, feel limited at first because they're not really sure where to start. You can see that there's some general great like list of notes, list of tasks, list of documents, like very general items here. But you might be also noticing that you're missing some key data like your collection sections or like your really built out collection entries on sections on any of your templates. This isn't obviously just for PI, of course. A lot of clients we have our PI, but I almost said your medicals and such, but obviously you have other topics that you might want to report on. So what you have to do is you have to go down here and select a project type. So let's say that we wanted to do a project type and we want to do something related to, we have so many different types of cases. So let's do a insurance defense just to throw me through a loop because it's the one that I won't be as confident as the PI one. But you can see we have lists of negotiations, list of discoveries, list of pleadings, depositions, experts, mediations. So now you can see if you are familiar with the Filevine system, these are our collection sections. So our more popular report that we always start out with is a list of projects. So I always like to kind of go into that first whenever going over Report Builder. And then there are some features here that I need to cover. So the first thing is when you select the type of report that you're going to choose to build, you're going to notice you're immediately taken to setup columns. Setup columns is simply just visuals. So it's just what you want to see when you're creating a report. So if I want to see, all of these items, but maybe it's not exactly how to get there, that's why you set up these columns. Let's say I want to remove some items here. So for example, org name, most of you only have one org, which is your Filevine account. So you would just simply double click on that to get rid of it. Now let's say I want to move name up top. You can drag and drop the name to the top. Phase is probably a pretty popular one because a lot of people like to track the Filevine phases. First primary is pretty popular. Project type is actually the project type that we selected. So that template that you used is your project type. I always remove that because I'm typically creating a project report that is solely for one of the project types. Now, if we go over to the left-hand side, you're going to notice we have barely any information. So a lot of people probably get stuck at this point because they're like, okay, I have like client data, I have org info, but I don't see like my case data. So what you have to do is you have to scroll down to project type and select the item that you want to report on. So we'll just click on that. And then now it'll load in a second. It's always delayed. All of my sections that are in my template here now in my report builder, in my category selector. Some other features that you might want to take note on that are actually newer is we have this new toggle that says display related data columns. This is for example, if I were to type in, let's do attorney full name, you're going to notice nothing is popping up. I might be able to get something out of just the word attorney. So what I have to do is I have to actually toggle this on to then get all of my attorney columns to show. And if it does this, it's like a little weird buffer sometimes. I just click into choose criteria and back out to get those attorney fields to pop up. So you can now see I have attorney's full name, I have the team version, I have the case summary version. If I remove the word full name, you would notice other fields related to an attorney contact card in general or role card. So you can see like the address information, things like that. So this is allowing those items to display. If I were to toggle it off, and then type in the word attorney, you can see the options are a lot different than what we just saw. I think that the reason why they incorporated that there is solely just to allow you to have the option to show all of those because contact fields can kind of slow down the system for like loading those fields. So just know that it's actually very helpful if you ever tried running reports in the last few months. That's like a pretty exciting thing that they added recently. And then we also have display obsolete columns. So if you're looking to run a report on fields that you have in your system that are obsoleted, you now would select this to expose those fields, which I love that this is an option as well, because yes, I do want to run reports on these options every once in a while, but a lot of times I actually don't want obsoleted fields as an option in my report builder drop downs. So I'm going to go back to toggling this on and we're going to just build a general case list report. So I'm going to do incident date. So what I'm doing is I'm just selecting things based on the quick select that I'm typing. But one other way that you could also do this is you could directly go into the section you're looking for. So for example, maybe I want to do the case summary section and I want to look for the statute of limitations. So you could do Command F, type in the word statute. And then you should be able to, sometimes it'll take me there, sometimes it won't. So if it doesn't, then I have one other way that I like to do it. It always is hit or miss on those, like the Command F. Sometimes my computer chooses not to read what I actually want it to.
And I
So
feel like,
the
especially when you're doing a demo, it's like, of course, it's not going to work.
right. Yeah. Just to set everyone up for failure, you can use Command F. I'm just kidding. So what I like to do is I also like to just have a case open on the right tab and then just cut and paste that exact key data that I'm looking for here. This actually is my preferred way because I probably have the location of the field memorized more than the exact title of the field. Like for example, if I was to look for second notes, like I know it's like maybe if I wanted to do like statute of limitations, like the second one, you can like see, I'm gonna type this in and I can see like I have all this stuff here related to like the second one, but I probably forgot that I wrote it out like this, second SOL notes. So it's much easier to just come in here and cut and paste and it go exactly in the report how I want it. And then again, I just double click to remove that because that was a random example. So one of the things I wanted to point out here is that I can do two things here. So I can pull in some data from collection sections. I know I previously showed you the list of options in the report builder, but if I go to the medical options, let's say the medical section, I have earliest created, latest created, average agreed, reduction. So I have averages, earliest, highest, lowest, latest, totals. So what you can pull from the medical section or any collection section is averages, totals, highest, lowest, fields like that. So a lot of times for these project list reports, this actually works because I probably want to do like a full like total of something, so like total original balance. And then I probably want to do the same thing for like liens, where it's like total initial lien amount, not lowest. I'll do initial lien amount. And then I also, let's say I want to also incorporate like something from negotiations. You can do like average amount, earliest date, highest amount. Like maybe I want to see the latest date and the highest amount. They might not align in the like exact field. It kind of depends on how you have it built out, but just know there are good things that you can pull out of these collection sections whenever it comes to, building these case lists. So anyways, this is just my columns that I want to see. So now I want to go to choose criteria. And then in this choosing criteria, I want to select the word phase. Let's just say I just want to see all of them in a specific phase. So believe it or not, I did actually type the word phase here. It's just being really slow. So I typed in the word phase, and then now I want to see where like phase is in, and I want to select where phase is in, let's say like maybe demanded because I'm in active negotiation, and I also want to see settlement just in case it's like something related, like one maybe like liability settled, but UM didn't settle. So what this is it's going to narrow down my criteria. So I showed my columns, I got what I want in it, but I didn't get to see, now I'm just kind of trying to discover how to get there. So I'm going to run this report. I don't know if there's going to actually be anything in this report that's going to match this criteria, just as a pre-warning, because I have no idea if we have anything sitting in the demanded or the settlement phase. But just as an example, this is going to either give me nothing or it's going to show me a handful of cases. So we'll let it run. On this portion, whenever I'm running the report, I always say be patient, allow it to run. Don't just jump to save and export or bounce back and forth. You will probably freeze the report builder. So it is much better to just run it and just kind of maybe have something open in the new tab to kind of work on while you're waiting if it does take time. I find it takes the longest when I have almost actually little information to run on a report, and it's probably because it's like weeding through all of our sandbox templates right now, which we have a bunch of. So this is definitely a little slower than you might experience on your end.
I think that's always something that like when you're waiting for it, you like want to keep clicking it, but if you do, it's just going to make a bunch of reports, right? Like,
Yeah, when you save at the end, like here, if you save, it will literally duplicate, or it used to. I guess I haven't done it since it's been a while since I've tried, but it would, I used to come in to work, build reports and have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the next day, because I didn't realize I was clicking on save and literally duplicating every report that I was building, because I'm probably the most impatient person you can experience working with. So whenever it comes to things like how a system runs, apparently. So, okay, you can see I got nothing out of this report besides just blank, and that's based on my criteria. So if I were to remove this criteria just by clicking on that X, I can run the report, and then there should be something to show inside here, even if it's like blank cases, but there should be cases showing. While we're waiting on it this time, I will point out too, in choosing criteria, you can have more than one thing in the criteria. Like for example, I can have where the phase is in this and the attorney is that, or the lawyer is that. I can have, where the paralegal is this person and the attorney is this person. I can literally create as many versions of this report as I want. One of the beauties of this report is that whatever I build today will, one, after I save it, will always, always, always save and auto save and like auto update with current data. So let's say we open up a new lead today in this sandbox template for personal injury, then it will add, so it'll go from 15 to 16. If I add any data within these columns, it will automatically start loading in here in this report. Every time I run it, it'll run it with new data. And then also I can reuse this report. So I can say this is my like standard report, but then I can save as and go in and choose the criteria for then Jordan's caseload or Jen's caseload. I can, recycle these. So really in your firm, you might only need like one reporting expert to then divide these reports out to multiple people or train them at least how to do a little bit of it, but not necessarily become like a main expert. So when we're on run report, we have a few options. The first one I like to show is this here. Almost everybody I notice like misses this, it's available. So let's say this was already a saved report and I just wanted to name it. A lot of people run it and save as something new and then they archive the old one, but you can actually just click in here and save it as a new title. So don't forget that that little pencil's there for a reason. You can group the report. So this is like if I wanted to group it by a specific category, for example, I could group it by, let's say, statutes of limitations due or by phase. So if I click on one of these, it takes a second. It always looks like there's nothing there. It's just reorganizing the report. It soon should show me all of the phases that we have in these 15 cases with like little collapsible columns to choose what I do and what I don't want to see. Patience.
What's that?
You know, it's funny because I am probably one of the most antsiest people that work at Vine Skills when it comes to like some of the stuff when it's on like Report Builder, but I am also one of the main people that I feel like ends up training on Report Builder. So it's funny because it doesn't match my actual personality sometimes, which is fun. I mean, I guess I am patient to do it all the time, but I feel like internally I'm not as patient with it.
You're just
Um,
super knowledgeable about all things Filevine, so you just got to do a lot of the trainings.
I like the report specifically because my background, it was obviously in case quality and compliance before, as I know you probably know that. So it's like I literally like lived and breathed report builder at the firm I previously worked at before coming to Vine Skills. So it's like it really is my weird skill. Like I feel like we all have our weird little skills that we mastered, and that's one. So I like to come up with creative reporting. Okay, so as you can see here, we have closing phase here. If I collapse this, then we can see demand prep. I can collapse discovery and just see demand prep and file setup and so on. You also have the option to show more than one listing per, like more than 25 per page. If we had a bigger report, this would be relevant. So there would be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 pages potentially, and you can show all. 1 second. Apologies. I had a little interruption in the background. And then over here, we have the option to reorder things. So, sorry, kid problems. So over here, I have incident date. So let's say I wanted to see things like in order of incident date, I would just click here and then it'll change the order. I've clicked on it too many times, so it doesn't know which way to go. I clicked on it 3 times, but it'll either show like the blanks first and then like the more recent, like the newest to oldest incident dates, or go in opposite, of course. Same with ABC order. If you were to click on this, it'll change the order of like the names and such. So it allows you some flexibility there when it comes to like organizing, as well as like drag and drop options. So like let's say I hated having phase second and I wanted first primary second, but I didn't do that on setup columns, then you can technically go through here and reorganize it that way as well. So out of the running section, I can save and export. When you look here, you notice you have like very limited features and options. So you would click on save as, and then you would do list of reports. You could just rename this here now at this point. This is where we warned you not to hit save 100 times. So I'm going to do demo reporting for free help. Just so we can come back here and maybe archive it. So I'm going to hit save. and then I'm gonna wait. You can tell it saved it because it's over here in the new title. So that's like my tell. That's how I know that I do not have to click save ever again. That's exactly like what I look for. Because sometimes you almost don't remember, so you do want to click it multiple times. So I'm just waiting, and then you'll see more things show here. While we're waiting on the report to save, I will say there are really cool features in Report Builder, not just to run reports and cross-check and reference your data, but one, these reports lead into your Domo dashboard. So if you guys have Domo specifically, everything in Domo starts here. And also, this is really helpful for auditing your staff, how they're using Filevine, but not just like how they're doing as like a staff member, but essentially like literally, are they using the system? Do I need to have someone come in here and rebuild and remodel my sections for me, things like that. So we use that tool a lot in we offer like free audits at Vine Skills. And so we use that tool for like, let's see, are people actually using their insurance section properly? Why is there 75 empty fields for this one question? Clearly, we're not using this question in here. Maybe we need to reconfigure how we're tracking this data, things like that. Also, reports are how we pull together fusions. So if you guys are familiar with any fusions for like your demand templates, let's say, for example, like for reports that pull together a letter, or maybe it's like some kind of litigation document, it all starts here in Report Builder, as well as these exporting reports, which I know I mentioned in the beginning, and we do have like a YouTube video on and things like that. But essentially in the export, that would be like if I wanted to have a collection export for like a medical summary that lives per project in a project specifically, that all starts here. So learning reporting or having somebody be a reporting expert for you is pretty key for a lot of things, not just simply like what are my incomplete tasks, but they also help you with things like that as well. So anyway, so now that I've saved this, we have some options down below, like export for Excel or Word. So if you run one of these, you will just simply open it up and see it's a pretty generic standard template that just pops up with in it. So we should see like the 15 cases and whatever way I ran it and organized it, in whatever order the dates were when I last just saved it is the way that it should be formatted here. So let it run.
And also just what you were saying earlier too, Jen, is that, obviously we do offer free audits at Vine Skills. So if you're interested, just let us know. We do have a form you can fill out, or you can just reach out to either Jen or myself. Our email should be on the invite. And then we also do help set up Domo. So if you are new to Domo, feeling overwhelmed, Jen, I think you're certified. We also have a lot more Vine Skills members there that are certified, and we can definitely help with that too.
Yeah, we definitely like love helping out with any of that stuff. And it can be two types of audits. So if you guys do want like template usage audits, we can help with that, but we can also help with more on a consulting level of like performance audits as well. So we kind of do both. We have tons of experienced coworkers and employees and colleagues in those areas. So it's really helpful to have the option for both. Okay, now that this has ran, we can open this up. It will open up in Excel. So this is what it looks like natively, just, whenever you don't make any edits. So let's say like I hate the color blue, for example. I don't actually hate the color blue, but let's say I hate the color blue. I don't want to see it like this, or maybe I had a really cool, colorful way that I used to have this set up, previously, or I don't really want to look at this every day and see like the word medicals and brackets and liens and brackets. So let's say, how do I fix this? How do I make a template out of it? Well, you wouldn't do it here, so you're going to just exit right out of that one and pretend like it doesn't exist. You're going to actually do it here under export for and do export options. Fun fact about this is step 2 is the instructions, not step 1. So if you're following along on instructions, then you will go straight to step 2. But the first thing you do need to pull open is this generate default template. So I'm going to generate one now. And what I'm doing, like I said, is I'm just simply creating a prettier template, let's say something I want to look at every single day, because this template that I'm building is not just a template I can open it up to every day in the report builder, but this is also something I could possibly get emailed to me every single day. So I'm going to click on this. And then I am going to just edit this. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to call this SOL because I know what that means. Maybe I call date of loss instead of incident date, total meds. I'm a lot more of a casual person than Filevine is set up to be here in our column. So I'm just going to kind of shorten everything. And then latest negotiations. And then highest amount, highest offer, we'll say. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then maybe shorten all of this stuff here. So I'm going to take all of these columns and move them over because it's pretty stretched out. I'm going to leave first primary name as like a little bit of a chunkier column because as we know, those are not going to be short titles most likely. And then I'm going to literally just change this to whatever obnoxious way I want to do it. So I'm just going to make a really colorful report just for fun. Every single category for me is going to scream neon because I don't know why. I just sometimes think that it's fun to make something a little more creative for organizing my data. But essentially, the goal is that I can literally just do whatever I want here at this point. Like, I'm sure you guys are catching on to that. The idea is I can make this however I want to make it. So that way it kind of like stands out to me and my standards and how I normally run my reports and such. So that is the main goal here. Let's do green again for money, but a different shade. And then here, maybe I want to put some like columns around it. And then maybe for like these columns, I want to do some like centering. And then let's just say, like right now, let's say that this is like a list of maybe not just highest offers. Let's say it's like all settlements and we just want total how many settlements, like our total settlements are so far in this report. You can do things like, sum and add together that and do the math. Obviously, I'm not like this doesn't necessarily make sense for this specific example because this is actually negotiations and you would never sum your negotiations, I assume, across all cases. But I just wanted to show you that whatever I put here is going to allow to pull open in this report. So I'm going to hit
And
save
I
here. Oh,
also
sorry.
see there that you left some spaces in between like the highest offer and then down there. Is there a reason you did that?
Yeah, so for this one, technically I don't need this space, but I need the second row. And if you notice, I dragged and dropped into the third row. So instead of like pre-building, like most people I notice will pre-set like an empty column essentially like ready for it. But what I did is I actually allowed my system to know by dragging and dropping down to them repeat automatically the second level, which will repeat all of the data. And then also that brings up a good point, these repeating fields. You can tell I habitually build these to where I can't even remember how to talk about them. So if you notice there's these random red like triangles at the corner. And these are actually, if you right click in Excel and hit edit note, these are notes. So you can see it says begin repeat. And then this one says end repeat. So what I'm doing is I basically have told the system that, or told Excel to repeat this data because I want a list, right? I don't want to see just one client when I run this report. I want to see all 15 of my personal injury clients that you guys just saw. So I know that it's going to automatically repeat for me. And yeah, you could definitely do away with this space. This is actually just a personal preference of I don't want it to be right up against the last column, but so yeah, let's do the save and then import it in. Good question slash reminder because I was about to skip right over the repeating fields. You can have things not be repeated, just FYI, actually on that topic too. If you really wanted to run this report just in a simple solo case, because it was like a collection export, like a medicals report or a list of insurance, you technically would move the field out of the repeating data or out of the repeating rows. So you would maybe move like name up here or name up above or below, somewhere where it's not within those two repeating red line dots. Okay, so I'm going to go to step 3 and I'm going to put this template right back into here. So I'm going to put that here. Hopefully I grabbed, yeah, the right one. You have to keep your stuff very organized in your file uploader. I try to like delete things religiously as I'm working on projects because, you don't want to grab the wrong report template. But I will say that it will yell at you if you have an error an error. So see where it says export template uploaded. If it was wrong, it would have yelled at me in red. So then I would have known that there was a problem. Step 4 is you can simply then see what you created. You don't have to do it in step 4. You could also just like exit out of this space and just export it here. But while it's already open, we might as well. So now you can see here I have this field where now I have this bright, obnoxious report. And then I have all of my clients' names. I can, if I wanted to go back in and edit it, I can. All you would have to do is either use the template that you already have on your computer, or you would just click right into this default template right here. You wouldn't generate a new one. You would just work on the one that you already have in the system to like make your tweaks and edits.
And
So now I'm
something
going to,
just on that too, when you were saying like, oh, you can upload it and it'll like scream at you if it's the wrong thing. It typically does that if it's like you're uploading a template that has like different field selectors, which are what the fields are called in the back end of Customs Editor, and they won't match up. And so it's like a mismatch between like the data that you're obviously running this report on and then like the template. So that's just kind of what it means if it screams at you. But obviously we uploaded the right one, so it didn't even matter.
yeah, no, that's good. It's harder to actually come up with examples of how to mess it up than it is to show how to do it right. So it's probably one of these times I should just do a really bad report that has like all incorrect data. That would be a good pop quiz for a client too. Like, why is this report not running or generating? Because that's like, fun thought is we make those mistakes a lot, but we don't show those mistakes. So okay, and then if you see like the CSV option, this is actually a part of how we connect it into like Domo and such, and of course to get a CSV version of your report. So I'm going to skip over that one, but we have auto report settings. So if you click on this, this is usually my wow moment. So cue the wows for anyone that's watching or watching the recording. But as simple as just getting this sent to you via email, especially if you're new at Filevine and you think you have to go in and run this report every day, you don't. As long as you go here, you can schedule this to be sent to you automatically via email. So if you click on weekly, you can choose like every day of the week. I often get asked how to get it sent to you daily. It is literally you select weekly and then you choose every day. So, and that's that way. You could do monthly. You could say every monthly, every evening on the 15th, I want this sent to me and hit save. Let's pretend like that's what I actually want. Now let's pretend like it's 3 months later and I actually hate my report and I never want to see it again. You can go into auto report settings and you can actually just unsubscribe from it. That way you don't have to worry about it anymore. So if you want to share it internally, you click on shared reports like I just did. This will share with everybody in your org. But let's say that we don't want to share with everybody, then you would just specifically select users that you want to have access to it. So like I just selected Asia, the person in charge of our marketing here. So now Asia has this report and me. No one else has this report except for my user, which is actually a Vine Skills user, and then Asia. Because that gets asked a lot too. If I'm running a report on like financial data, maybe I don't necessarily want everyone to be able to get in there and see it, then technically that's not something that they technically will not be able to see it unless they learn how to completely do it all on their own. They're not going to see the template in the report that you did. And I also will say I've never really had firms where people are that eager to dive in and learn, like every staff member to learn every report, the report builder. So I wouldn't even worry about that thought. But they won't have your report if you don't share it with them. So just don't share reports with people that you don't want to have access to it. And then from here, you can also archive the report. So you just click on that box, and then again, from the beginning, it would be out of sight, out of mind. And then, that's the kind of nutshell of just in general, all the reporting details. I know that we don't really have many participants, but if anyone's like watching this as a recording, then, you guys can, of course, go in and ask any questions and, we can always help. Do you think there's any, Jordan, like any random reports? Like we have list of tasks. That's a pretty popular one. That's pretty quick. I could go over just in a recording because there's one key thing on this that people don't tend to select. So I guess I'll go into that one. List of tasks. There's usually two things. There's completed tasks and incomplete tasks. And then also just some word of advice here. you don't know what these columns mean like I probably do or Jordan does because you might be new to Report Builder. So sometimes I suggest like actually not editing the report and just running it to then see what all of this data means. But like some things I know I can drop right away is it an auto task? That's just saying like, does Filevine send me this task from a phase or something? Because it's not something that I created, then you can just remove that. Target date is the due date. Completion date is the completed date. Completed by is who it is completed by, of course. Assigned to means who got that task. Last activity was the last activity taken within that task. Has that task been touched? The note text is actually what the task says. It's kind of a strange way to phrase it, but that is what that means. The link will take you directly to that task without going through the whole activity feed. The authors who created it, most of the time I don't want that because it's usually VineSkill or Filevine, like the system, because it's a phase. And then project name, of course, I'm sure everyone knows is the project name. For a incomplete task, would you need completed by name and completed date? Probably not. So I'm going to remove those as well. I'm going to go to choose criteria and type in the word completed and mark no. So this is like the thing that I feel like a lot of people miss this step. All you have to do is go to completed and then mark no, and then you would run it. And this is how you get your incomplete task list. You can also go through and say like assigned to Jen, assigned to Anna, assigned to Vine Skills team. Like you can specify. So like for example, assigned to at username is, I think my username is just Jen. We'll see, it might be Jen1. Yeah, it's not just Jen. So because I don't know my own name in here, I'm going to do my name instead of my username. Assigned to name contains Jen. That's my other like cheat is I don't like to ever use the word is. I always use the word contains unless I know exactly word from word what I'm looking for because you will get the data like that you hopefully want. But as you can see, we have some Jennifers in here I did not know about. So um first I have to figure out who that is. And second, we definitely, that's not me. So you can see then I would probably narrow it down to then is Jen, because we can see that's clearly what my name is in the system. And then you can see all of just my tasks. So I narrowed this down to incomplete tasks and that the assigned to person is Jen. So this is like me auditing my own task list. And then I would just continue the same steps by hitting save and kind of going from there. Some people want to audit the opposite. So they want to say is completed yes and completed by. So I would add that back in. Completed by name and completed date. Maybe I'm just kind of trying to measure like when it was assigned and when it was completed. And so then I would go to this, I'd mark yes, and I'm only auditing completed tasks. This is more of an audit, like compliance type report rather than necessarily a report that's going to be for like a useful, like here's a list of my tasks. This is more like who is completing these tasks? How long is it taking to complete these tasks? So just kind of a fun little compliance idea as well. Yeah. So I will stop sharing because I feel like that was a good explanation of some general task stuff.
Perfect.
And I guess if no one else joins or anything, we can probably end this and cut this short. But yeah, if anyone is watching this recording down the road and they have any questions, it's jordan@vineskills.com and jen@vineskills.com. Anyone is totally welcome to go in and just send us a message, ask us any questions related to reporting. We'll try to jump in and help you. And don't forget to reach out about those audits and such as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
perfect. And I think I was just going to go ahead and share here, just show you guys our website as well. If you ever want to come visit us, check out our offerings too. It's just fineskills.com. Like Jen was saying as well, we also have a lot of great videos that you can come and watch. So if you go down to the Filevine training videos, these are all for free that you guys can access. They're sorted by different Filevine or some of our different products. You can see we do everything from lead docket, document assembly, Filevine, automations, QuickBooks, Domo, Periscope, kind of everything. So we probably have something to fit your needs as well. And we do offer hourly services now if you would prefer to do that versus, a monthly no contract kind of setup. So we can also talk to you guys about that. And I think that's it.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching and reach out with any questions.
All right. Bye, guys.